Tsundoku, noun. Language of origin, Japanese. Meaning, the act of acquiring books but allowing them to pile up unread.
The secret treasures of life are hidden within the tombs ahead. La-Mulana holds many secrets, but the most important one would be, what happened to your missing father? Both La-Mulana and LaMulana II have their own adventures in these two retro-styled platformers. My name is Chad Bonin, and this is D-Pads and DLC, a look at retro and retro-inspired games. La-Mulana 1 and 2 are labors of love. The first was the definition of an independent game from the 2000s, looking back to the developer's fond days of the MSX. The second was an early Kickstarter success story, a title I backed, honestly forgot about, and put away in my own Tsundoku. If you didn't grow up with affinity towards the MSX, are the La-Mulana games truly hidden treasures, or should they not be unearthed? Let's open up the Tsundoku Zone and investigate the La-Mulana adventures.
Comics, games, animation, and a variety of henshin credible superhero shows from Japan. Chad Bonin guides you through the Tsundoku Zone.
La-Mulana may appear to be a simple platformer title, something that with some graphical downgrades could be handled on the NES, or more accurately, the MSX the franchise is professed to revere. You could easily trick someone and say that this was a lost Indiana Jones title when it comes to the stylings, or a precursor to the Spelunky titles. Pick up the controller though, and you'll realize how wrong you are. As your lead character in the Kasugi family, you've set out with a whip and a jump. The whip doesn't give you much range, so the player will always need to judge if the danger is worth getting up close to. Coupled with the physical attacks, the sharpest weapon you may have is intelligence and patience, and a personal computer. The La-Mulana games feature the MSX as an actual game element. Playing the game isn't just running, jumping, and whipping. A key element is using your MSX to investigate, decode, and even check email for hints. You'll need to locate and buy new software for the game, and handle a bit of data management. That's the general concept of the franchise, but let's dust off each one and dive into the games. Having originated in 2005, the remake of this title has hit all current gen consoles, but definitely can track the history of the game back to the 1980s. Anything and everything you know about modern game design is gone. In Donkey Kong, Mario had to commit to a jump. Once you were in the air, you were moving in that direction. Ghosts and Goblins continued that trend, even with Super Mario Bros. Giving Mario a bit more control when you're in the air. Sure, it broke the law of physics, but it was more forgiving. La-Mulana is not about forgiving. It's about patience and commitment. The first I can handle, the second not so much. La-Mulana has to commit to a jump, which is fine as there's not much actual platforming elements in the initial playthrough area of the game. You can also take some steep falls and survive, so you're already better than Donkey Kong's Mario. La-Mulana, and therein the player, has to actively be patient. If something looks suspicious, it may be a booby trap. Anyone riding into the game guns blazing will surely perish, and the game punishes you with returning you to your last save point. Think about it. In the 1980s, there wasn't any save states or quick saves. If you forgot to save, you'll need to hope you can retrace your steps. Luckily, the game is quick to restart, and there's no randomization that I've caught. That trap will always trigger in the same spot, and the same water will always poison you, slowly draining your health. Armed with a trusty whip, you'll need to face off against the non-threatening skeletons, bats, and other enemies. While never particularly hard to defeat, the struggle comes when trying to actually connect. Go up to a real bat in the real world and try to hit it with a whip. I imagine it's kinda hard, and you see why Dr. Jones just pulled out a gun to avoid a fight. Throughout the game, you'll need to do a fair amount of backtracking, making your way back to camp to heal up, buy expansions, and the like. Part of this includes asset management, as you will need specific items to get past certain challenges. From the early parts of the game, though, I don't feel too much of a need to actually backtrack to this title. The second title, included as a separate download or as part of the physical Hidden Treasures edition, complete with a puzzle and soundtrack, remains much of the same, but has a few enhancements.
Snatched from beneath my feet, I function on instinct, nearly destroyed everything because I didn't think.
There's a great aspect of Super Metroid in the first few minutes after the prologue. When Samus makes her way back to the original planet Zebes location, the player sees how much time has improved the world. La-Mulana II offers a bit of that near the beginning. Playing as Lumisa, the daughter of the original protagonist, you start off in the same location years later. Time has been kind to the world, invariably because of the actions your father takes in the original game, even if you haven't beaten it yet. Soon enough, you're back to the family trade and are exploring the world once again. With slightly improved graphics and a little more screen real estate, The title adds a bit more to do, especially with character interactivity. For an unexperienced player, it could take you about an hour to even get to the title screen once you reach Yggdrasil, the new adventure. Part of that time will be spent trying to figure out the graphic design of the game. Notably, ladders never register in my mind as, yep, that looks like a ladder. Slopes, much like Super Mario Maker 2, can be found early on in the game and make the world feel a little less like a drag and drop tile set. Still, much of the games will blend together, though it'll be obvious which game is which, if only for how long the locks are on the protagonist. What they aren't, though, is easy. The pair of titles are some of the hardest games you will find on modern systems, especially when it comes to default difficulty. If you're a bit gung-ho, you may accidentally ignore warnings and put the second title on hard. Coming from a world where games can be difficult but patient, the La-Mulana duology has no time for that. While other games would give you a chance to quickly retry a section, or even garner less points for a band-aid of survivability, the intended goal of these games is to treat it like real archaeology. You need to be patient and think things through. You need to judge if it's a good time to fight or to run away. Additionally, you need to use your brain and reading skills. The ever-present emails, messages, and notes will actually aid you as a player. If you're thinking of other 2D Metroidvanias particularly, well, Super Metroid, you may think you're in for an atmospheric adventure that the graphics will tell you all you need to know. Nope. The level of dialogue in this game rivals some basic RPGs, with critical thinking to match equal parts experimentation. I struggled for a good bit to figure out where to move on, seemingly having come to a dead end. Only after blindly smacking the statue a few times near the beginning did I realize it was something necessary to destroy, which highlights a problem with the titles. Graphics and gameplay can be unintuitive. A strategy guide is provided online, which may be much needed, but beyond the ladders I've mentioned earlier, how would anyone suspect to destroy a statue? There may be some dialogue I miss, but a little bit of visual indication that this is an interactable element and not just set dressing would help.
Flight sim, now I'm on a jet plane, and now I'm on that next game. Apology.
Are La-Mulana 1 and 2 worth checking out? To be honest, you need to be a bit of an MSX masochist to get your full enjoyment. If you come at it with the mindset of Spelunky, where making some significant headway is all you need to do, you'll quickly die. If you're thinking it's the next coming of Super Metroid, you'll remember the advancements 16-bit games had made over the previous generation. Still, I didn't get a chance to check out the Hidden Treasures edition, but these games might thrive more as digital downloads. While I've reached my limit on them for the time, I haven't deleted the games. They sit on my Switch, ready for the day I'm done with the island life of Animal Crossing and want a bit of punishment. Much like the real world, some people just want pain, and I can respect that. Some people have more patience, though, and I just don't have time for that at the moment. These titles may just beg for a return trip one day. My name is Chad Bonin, and I'll see you in the stacks.